This video is brought to you by
Auckland Photographer's Clothing.
In this lesson we talk about white balance and why white balance is very important for your image. You don't only have bright and dark, you also have colors in your image, and the colors should of course look beautiful, maybe natural, maybe also unnatural, depending on what you want to achieve. And you can do all of those color related things with white balance. But before we start with the white balance, first set your camera to RAW and JPEG mode. Because when this mode is activated, you can shoot both JPEG and RAW. What exactly that means, I will teach you later, but you will capture now some images when you haven't photographed RAW before, now already, that you can see those exact differences later when we talk about it. So set that now, and then we go on to the white balance. So what is white balance? It is actually, like the name says, the balance of the white. Because in every situation, in every light you have over the day, also in studio, inside, also at night, you have different colors of light. And those colors have to be balanced. It's very simple to see with artificial light sources. Like for example, when you're at home and you turn on all your lights, all those light sources usually have a different white balance. You can buy warmer bulbs like LED bulbs in different temperatures. And this is actually the same like we have now here with the white balance, different color temperatures. Usually they are in Kelvin, K, just a simple K in short terms, and they have a long number in front. You don't have to remember all those numbers, it's much simpler here in the camera. But in general, those light bulbs are from yellow to white to a more bluish color. And you can try that for yourself when you're at home and turn on your artificial lights at home, and you get used to it over a few minutes, then all your lights appear white. But when you then look out in the evening and it's in a total dark outside, then you might see that outside it's blue. And you think, why is it blue outside? And then you go outside and then you think, no, outside is not blue, it's actually just white, normal, not unusual. But then you go back in and it's yellow again. And then you are in for some time and then it gets white inside and outside it's blue again. And that is the white balance in your brain or in your eyes. And it's the same like in the camera. So you get used to it. But you have to set it with the camera, because when you don't set it, then you have the wrong white balance and the wrong color temperature captured. And actually white balance is pretty easy to imagine. When you have a blue image, you have to bring in yellow to make it white. And when you have a yellow image, you have to bring in blue to make it white. That's all the magic about white balance. So you have to see, what is it? Is it yellow? Is it blue? And then you have to bring the opposite color in. And that is blue for yellow and yellow for blue. The great thing about the camera is that first you can shoot RAW. In RAW format you can adjust white balance later. Teach you later about that. And as well, you have auto white balance, just like auto ISO, auto aperture, auto shutter speed, and so on. You can also choose auto white balance. And this is totally fine. I use it most of the day, you can say. 99% out of the times I use auto white balance. And if it's wrong and the auto white balance did not a good job, then I still can adjust it in RAW, so no big deal. Only difficulty when you're filming. So no still photography, no RAW format, but filming. Usually you don't film in RAW, most people don't. Then it's complicated. Then you have to really set the white balance. That's why I teach you now the different white balance modes and how the white balance affects the image. So let's start with the different settings here in the camera. I have now my beautiful flowers here, just some random settings. I have the aperture very open, adjusted the shutter speed to our zero game. You see now it's very simple to make the zero game, to just do it how I like. When it's too dark, I make it a bit brighter. When it's too bright, I make it a bit darker. I can be on zero, I can be plus 0.3, doesn't really matter. Important is that it looks good. And then I click on FN here. With a Sony camera, with Canon it's Q. And then I go on AWB, and that means auto white balance. And I click on it, Now auto white balance is set. Important, if you have ever changed by accident or on purpose this auto white balance features, because you can here, you see it on the side, A, B, 0, G, M, 0. This is correct. If there's something else than this 0, then your white balance, your auto white balance is set wrong. You changed it and then it's not correct.
Hi, I'm Albert Ross, professional landscape photographer, and this is my Hawkland Parker Pro jacket. This red color is my personal signature edition. This is a great jacket system for outdoor photography. Why? It has multiple layers, not just this layer. It has a fleece layer, a mid layer, and this outer layer. It's very waterproof, it's windproof, and it's suitable for any kind of weather conditions. Anyone can wear it, but it's a jacket system aimed at photographers, meaning it has some very nice features like this little pocket with my lens cloth attached here. I can quickly take it out for my glasses or my lens or my filters. Then it has really big pockets here for accessories, and it has a lot of nice pockets inside for batteries, smartphone, SD cards. It's very convenient for me as a photographer to use, not only because of the weather, but also because of all these nice features.
Maybe you also like the photography backpack, winter gloves, or classic jacket system. At www.hawkland.us.
Hawkland. Photographer's clothing.
So look in your camera and see if there's another number standing next to the auto white balance. You can just change it by clicking to the side and then bring back that marker in the middle. Here you see the colors pretty well. Most of the time it's only blue to yellow that is important and that you set in white balance, but you can set as well green and magenta. But most of the times you don't need it, and I would not recommend it to set it to either magenta or to green if you don't know what to do. And that can be a huge mistake beginners do when they accidentally or on purpose, when they hear it in some YouTube video, some secret technique, that they adjust it and forget about it. So check this setting, everything should be set on 0. So when I go back at the AW, the next thing is the sun. And it's pretty easy, it says daylight. Right now the sun is shining. What do I choose? Sun, of course. But no, not really, because I sit not in the sun, but in the shade. So now I would use shade, and this is the next thing. And you see what happens in the image, and I can now just take some photos. I go back to AW, take a photo. First white balance is set. Now I go to daylight, I take a photo. Now I go to shade, and you see the difference from daylight to shade is it gets a bit more yellow. So you can say daylight is a bit more bluish and shade is a bit more yellowish. And sometimes you can use it on purpose, like for example in fall, I photograph a lot of times with shade white balance, even though it's maybe daylight, because the colors are more yellow and it looks more beautiful in autumn, for example, when you choose that white balance setting. But again, you can choose auto white balance as well, doesn't matter. The next thing we have is cloudy, and cloudy and shade is pretty similar. Cloudy is a bit more bluish, but yeah, depending on what situation you have, you can choose it or not choose it. With photography, not that important. Film, as mentioned, it's more important. So when we film, really film, like with here with the camera, we set the white balance. Usually we don't film with auto white balance because it can make some difficulties later when you want to grade. The next thing is that light bulb, and here it says incandescent. I usually use the term tungsten, but it's blue, you can say. This is what you usually use when you have artificial light bulbs like you had like 10 years ago when there was no LED in every home. Then you use that when you filmed with artificial light. And the next few white balance settings, fluor, are just for other artificial light sources like a warm white, cool white, day white, and so on and so on. Then you have flash. Flash is usually daylight as well because most flashes flash in daylight. Then you have auto white balance underwater, and then you can set manual white balance with Kelvin numbers, and can also set custom white balances, but those are pro features. Most of the people actually won't use it because they can set other white balance stuff or just use auto white balance. But with filming, as mentioned, it's important to sometimes set the white balance, but with raw photography it's not that important. A great camera trick that even Hollywood uses, you can try with the white balance. Just set your white balance to tungsten, to that little light bulb. So everything is blue in the image, even though it's pure daylight now with sunshine. And now underexpose the image that it looks like it's in the evening or at night where it's a lot darker. And with that tweaked white balance, it looks bluish now, which gives you the impression that it's also night. So it looks like moonlight is shining here from behind. Twilight situation. I'm now looking for Edward and turn into a werewolf and just photograph him, of course. This effect is called day to night, and you shoot at day because at night it's much more difficult to shoot with all the light and all the sensitivity, all the grain, all the noise and so on. That's why you shoot at day. But the downside is you cannot change it later. So once you set that wrong white balance, once you're underexposed, it's tough to bring it back if you don't shoot raw. But more about that later. That's actually what white balance is. No big mysteria. Most of the times, 99% of times, you can use just auto white balance, shoot in raw, and when there's a mistake, then solve it in raw, and that's what we will do in the next lesson. Your lesson for today is to turn your camera in raw, like I said, and try that different white balance modes for yourself. Set auto white balance, set shade, set daylight, set also tungsten or that light bulb mode, and see what you like best and how your camera works. And if you set something maybe in the past by accident where your white balance is tweaked more into green or into magenta. Wish you a lot of fun and see you in the next video. This video from my beginner's course Simply Learn Photography from 2023 is part of my photography legacy. Over a period of 5 years, I will publish my courses from learnfromben.com for free and with ads here on YouTube. So everyone can benefit from my knowledge regardless of budget. So subscribe now to the channel and spread the word. And do you want all 9 courses from the last 10 years immediately bundled together and without advertisement at a super affordable price? Then go now to learnfromben.com and get the XXL Bundle as an instant download or stream via the website at www.learnfromben.com. More than 22 hours of the finest learning content on photography, filming and image editing in all levels of skill. Link is in the description and in the comments below. And also check out the sales section with my signature tripods and defilters and books. Everything is on sale up to 60% off, as long as stocks last. Thank you for your support. Videos from the courses are published every Friday at 5:30 p.m. German time. My name is Jaworskyj and I wish you all some really good photos.